Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Holy Plot. This is not a numbered episode because we are doing a bunch of stuff this week, so subscribe and stay tuned. But in this video, we are going to be tackling the Thursday night and day Hall H at SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con, featuring our brave boots on the ground reporter Jacob, who was in there
Oh god.
getting footage that you are going to see from our lovely editor and co-host James. Thank you, James.
Of course, of course.
Jacob, why don't you take us in chronologically? What did you see in Hall H? And before you do, before I forget, if you are at all interested in San Diego Comic-Con coverage and just entertainment news coverage in general, please check out our Twitter, which will be linked somewhere, I'm sure, maybe even on screen right now.
Yes.
But besides that, take it away.
So to lightly touch on the whole Twitter thing, I was live tweeting this bench, and I was getting like 10K plus views on my tweets. So
But not
please
all
go
you
check out the
followed
Twitter.
it, did you, viewers? We don't have 10K followers on Twitter, you ungrateful bastards.
Yeah, we see the analytics. What's wrong with you
Yeah,
guys?
we see when you click off the video. We know right when it happens.
Like right now.
So
Whatever.
for a bit of my origin story here, James was actually not able. We were actually recording in a hotel room. If you didn't watch the Barbie Oppenheimer video, go watch that. We were recording in a hotel room right now in San Diego. James was not able to make Hall H on Thursday because he had work. So I swept into Hall H. I flew in. James drove me to San Diego, and I was legitimately the only person that stayed overnight in line for Hall H.
The real one.
Last year there was like 6,000 people. And man, let me tell you, that was a harrowing experience. And I was first in line. I basically cut the ribbon on Hall H for this year. It was awesome. I will never forget that moment.
Holy Plot owns San Diego Comic-Con. We run this shit.
And I gotta say,
Took it.
so going into this whole thing, we didn't ever really cover it because I was too depressed to talk about it. Comic-Con did get gutted. Dune got canceled. A bunch of stuff got canceled, but I can confidently say that I am completely satisfied with the experience all around. Just don't feel that this like sadness and depression, and they really managed to bring some life into the event that I didn't think they were going to be able to do. So I'll just go down the list.
Yeah, what'd you
Only
see?
3 panels, but all of them are stuff that you guys are going to find interesting for sure. So our first panel was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of this IP. I like played the video games, I watched the show.
Yeah, I've watched it like a little bit, but hardly really.
It wasn't like
I
a
have
big
I have
thing
no
for us.
connection to it at all. I didn't watch any shows or play any games or nothing.
So originally, I'm assuming the actors were gonna be there, right? So they didn't want to cancel the panel, which I like. Good for them. I really think honestly, a lot of these studios could have just had like the showrunner or director come out, which is what this panel was basically. Was like the moderators and directors and producers, and the creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out as like a surprise.
That's pretty cool.
And he announced that the Paramount and Nickelodeon got the rights secured. I guess they've been in some sort of a rights frenzy, and they got the rights secured, so the show is going to re-air. I think it's kind of been in like limbo. So that was cool. Came out and announced that. But they had to fill this hour time slot in Hall H. It's like the Super Bowl. It's like the mecca of nerd fandom. So they just straight up showed us 20 minutes of the movie.
Seriously.
It was unedited, and it was just 20 minutes straight of the film.
Wow.
And I was like no one understood that they were going to do that because, I mean, they usually just talk and talk and talk. And
yeah, that's
crazy.
Mean,
we saw the Marvel panel last year. It was just like a conveyor belt of just like
minute
and 30-second trailer. The cast talks for 3 minutes. Next. So this was like a really in-depth view into the film. And damn, dude, it fucking rocked.
Really?
I mean, this movie is going to rip dick. The animation was just fantastic. We talked about it I think it was a couple weeks ago, how I felt like it was graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
James put a clip in here. I recorded it, where the director said that he feels like it was what a 12-year-old would draw because him and Seth Rogen, I think I'm getting the director's name, they feel like the teenage part of the characters is missing.
Yeah.
He just feels like they are the Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't tackle that teenage aspect enough. So that's like the big endeavor for this film. So it feels like he wanted the animation style to reflect that and to have some of like the proportions and drawing mistakes that a 12-year-old would have when they're writing and animating a film, which I thought was a really cool idea.
It's so specific and it's so beautiful looking and hilarious. Yeah, it really started with focusing on the teenage part, which in early conversations with Seth always felt like the most underserved of the 4 descriptors. And we wanted to cast actual teenagers and create something that felt authentic. And then we decided to reflect that in the art style. And we looked at the way we used to draw when we were in high school, when you're like so passionate and you just don't know how to draw, but you don't know that you don't know how to draw yet. And so you'll like lovingly like draw a hand and like every fingernail and like every wrinkle on the knuckle, but like the hand is like horribly misshapen. It doesn't. There's no formal art training to encumber your pure expression. And then we're like, let's do that. Let's make the movie look like that. Yeah.
And when you watch the film, it has that just grit that like Spider-Verse has in its animation style, and it was just incredible.
But yeah, I had to say, like, the thing that immediately drew me into this movie is I noticed how much they made them younger. And I was like, oh, yeah, they really want to focus on the teenage part and really, like, live up to that. And so that had me really curious. And just the fact that it was doing Spider-Verse animation style, or just like the more stylized, let's get back to feeling like 2D, kind of getting away from photorealism. So I just want to support and see anything like that.
No, like, I'm not even a big fan of this IP. I don't think any of us are.
No, yeah, that's the thing. Your praise is coming from somebody who's a non-fan, and it's a bit of a barrier of entry to get into a franchise like this, not in your childhood.
Yeah, I mean, it's got such like a cult following, and yet I was just completely drawn in, and like I'm excited to see this movie in a couple weeks.
Wow.
It comes out in 2 weekends, I think. It's like August 3rd. So definitely go to the theater and check this out. In my opinion, I can pretty confidently say that because I feel like I watched a good chunk of the film. Just to speak a little bit on it, there was that intense action with that weight to it. Like it reminded me a lot of the fight scene in Aunt May's house in the first Spider-Verse movie.
Yeah.
It felt like that, where the Ninja Turtles are bouncing around on the walls and they're jumping up and down and stuff, and they're like, it just has this like punch to it. But there was also a lot of cool like family drama stuff.
Really?
With them just being shunned from society, and I thought that was really compelling.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see how they handle that, because usually, I don't know if this is the case. I'm not like, are the turtles, are they seen as like freaks, or is it one of those IPs where they have like some gollywampus evil looking creature just walking around and was like, oh hey Todd?
I think initially they just kind of try to stay hidden and in the shadows.
Yeah.
And they, at least from everything I've gathered,
I guess that's where the ninja comes from.
I'm sure there's like comics or something that explore the alternative, but I think they don't really express like they don't really talk about like being rejected from humanity a whole lot. They
they fully are.
They kind of like lived like their lives like having pizza and being dudes, and like the fact that they're all brothers, it's enough for them.
Yeah, it seems like they're just kind of hanging out in the sewer.
But this movie really tackles
in this movie they're like
ostracized.
In this movie they're depressed. Like they're like, yeah, all I see every day is like the same 3 people. This sucks. Even though I like you guys.
It's about COVID. It's about quarantine.
You know, it felt like that, like genuinely.
It's about to be better COVID commentary than Astro City.
It like reminds me of how people talk about like their college roommates, where they're just like, dude, I like you, but I can't do this.
Wow, that's so surprising, and I like to hear that.
Yeah.
I want to.
There was a lot of just creative and passion behind it, and the director was just like, you can tell. I think he worked on like Mitchell's versus the Machines. He wasn't like the main visionary behind that because that was Phil and Chris. So, but he has clearly dabbled in this world of this modern animation, and you can just tell he was just so blessed to have the opportunity, so fortunate, and just so thankful for the fans that were there. I don't really have more to say on it other than just go see it, and that we're excited to watch it.
Yeah, it looks cool. I don't have much to say about it either.
I mean,
trailers that I've seen, I haven't seen any Comic-Con footage yet, but I mean, the thing that's drawn me in is the art style. I think we're in a new age of stylized animation, which I'm here for. So I'll support it. Looks cool.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we also got a second. It was easily the panel that dropped the most content. Even though it's probably my least favorite, which I'm still like,
speaking very highly of it.
Speaking very highly of it. It's not a diss on it at all. They gave us a trailer at the end, and it just has such a cool voice cast. I don't understand if Seth Rogen has like the best connections in the industry or something, but he can just always pull together just such an awesome cast.
He's got something going on.
Yeah, he's just got such an awesome, like Paul Rudd is in this, I think. John Cena,
Giancarlo
Esposito, Seth Rogen. He voices character. Ice Cube is in this. He was really funny. Like they had a thing where they had like a pre-recorded segment, which I thought was creative. And I really think like panels like Invincible, and I mean, god damn, even Dune. And I'm not trying to cope here. Someone said it to me without even knowing me. Was like, I really feel like Denis Villeneuve and like some of the producers at Legendary could have just came out and talked about the movie because the crowd was like reacting the same as they did last year. So I don't know. It was really just a really good adaptation to the circumstances and a way to defy them in a compelling way.
What was next up after Ninja Turtles?
Oh man. Okay, so Liam, you're gonna get a massive kick out of this.
Okay.
So Liam and I are big RRR fans.
I love that movie. I've seen that movie like first of all, movie. How long is it? Like 3 hours, easily.
It's like 3 hours and 15.
I've seen that movie. Yeah. I've seen it upwards of 7 times.
Yeah.
It's just. Is this RR2? Are you about to blow my mind right now?
No. So.
Oh.
This is the first time an Indian production has been at CDCC, nevertheless Hall H. And
CDCC,
Hall H was,
that's funny.
You could just walk into, sorry, not CDCC, I'm sorry.
It's like 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, you could just walk into Hall H this year. I mean, I was legitimately in front row because I did like some schizo war tactics, but like, people could just
schizo war tactic.
Look,
the worst kind.
So within like 3 minutes, Hall H became like 75% Indian people, and I have never seen a group of people. It's probably the most electric crowd I've ever been in, and I've been to concerts. We were in Hall H last year, when the Wakanda for Everything, they had that panel, which like was super just like energetic and emotional,
very passionate. Yeah.
And the panel started with a musical number, like an RRR musical number, where like a drum corps came out and like all the drummers were crying at the opportunity, and they had like candle dancers. and then they played like an Indian film montage, and they played some RRR, and Hall H went crazy.
Oh, I'd pop off. I love that movie.
So the movie is called Project K, and it is the way I can describe it, and it's a disservice because it's just so unique. It's just if you ever try to describe RR to someone, or just any Indian film rather, to someone who hasn't watched it, it's just so unique and creative that it's kind of hard to do.
That's me.
Guys being dudes.
That's me. I'm waiting to watch that with my fellow holy plot hosts.
That movie is as good as
You haven't
boys.
seen
Go
that
watch that
yet?
movie.
No, we gotta watch it.
Yeah, he's been waiting to watch with us.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
damn.
waiting. It's worth the wait.
Yeah,
But
I watched that again.
to describe this movie, it was basically Dune meets RRR meets Star Wars.
What?
I'm so in.
Dude,
in.
I'm watching the shit out of that.
It legitimately was like, it was Dune meets RRR. It looked so fucking badass.
That sounds awesome.
I was like it was so hype that they played the trailer in the entire Hall H like room chanted play it back, and they played the trailer back because they loved it so much, and like people were just screaming at the top of their lungs. I mean, this room had so much energy to it.
Wow.
And the film looks phenomenal. I mean, the director behind the movie was basically like, yeah, India's never made a sci-fi blockbuster.
Can you imagine if they were going that hard and then the movie looked really bad?
Dude, no,
Like,
dude,
they were just screaming and then the movie plays.
the movie looked badass.
No.
When's it releasing, Jacob? Do you know?
It's releasing in 2024. That's all we know.
Okay.
And that is the only glimpse that has ever been given of the film. I don't think you can go online and find it unless someone recorded it, which always happens, but it just looked insane. I mean, the
RR meets Dune is enough to get me to pay attention to your product if that's going to be your aesthetic.
That's the way I would describe it. It was just so unique because the director of the film was like, India's never made like a big budget sci-fi film. And we're just kind of getting like a new perspective on that whole thing, which is like,
It's really nice.
yeah, like that just legitimately hasn't happened before. I mean, imagine if we all live in America, like we had never made Star Wars, we had never made Star Trek, and like that came out now.
You didn't even get into fantasy because sometimes these lines blur, like Dune. I mean, right now we're dusting off Dune to do, but even then, this is like over here in America, we've really seen the big fantasy quest, whether it's pure fantasy or whether it's sci-fi fantasy. We've seen the big epic coming of age fantasy quest. So to see a whole different culture and entertainment industry get their hands on that kind of story, and just for them to be so excited at getting to do it for the first time, that's going to be incredible to witness, especially because there is a momentum here with these movies with RRR. So I haven't seen this trailer. I might not watch it, but I am excited.
I don't think you're able to.
It's just such a unique journey to a movie like this.
Apparently, the movie's been in production for 4 years or something crazy like that. I mean, it's been like a crawl to get it made. The way they talked about it is it's sci-fi like Dune mixed with like Indian mythology. You know how Liam like RR would just break into like magic and shit like that?
Yeah, well they were like avatars basically.
Yeah, so
Ramaraju was
doing like the same like Indian mythology, but this time it's mixed with like Dune grit.
Yep, man, that sounds peak as hell. I'm watching the hell out of that.
Yeah, it was the best Hall H panel that I've been to.
Wow. This is a guy, viewers, who saw Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson rise out of the ground and shoot lightning out of his fingers. Just not but 365 days ago.
Still incredible.
So
And
that movie ended up
they
being
had the big Marvel panelist.
a bit of a poo-poo sandwich. So
Yeah, they did announce like Marvel's Phase 5 and 6, which really it all just feels like a really, really, really long Phase 4 at this point.
I'm here to tell you right now, we do not care.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes peeled on Project K. I mean, it just looks like it's going to be a blast. I think it's going to be one of these movies that's going to blow up like RRR did last year, where it just like took the world by storm when it got put on Netflix. So
Hey, you
keep
heard
your
it here
eyes peeled
first,
on that.
Heck yeah.
viewer. You heard it here first.
And
All
then
right,
the
what else
last
happened?
panel, and I think the one where we're going to be able to talk the most about was Spider-Man 2.
Oh boy.
So the panel was like the game directors, and then it had Yuri Lowenthal, Laura Bailey, Tony Todd, and we got a trailer for the game that showed Venom, which they have just like kept Venom under wraps, and he's just like he is the Venom that you want. Like he is perfect Venom. Just like design is super thought out. Like when they showed his design, he kind of has like some like xenomorph vibes.
That's
Mm.
cool.
He's like his jaw is like not located in, and he's like drooling from the mouth. He's kind of got like a Komodo dragon ass.
Wow.
Like
He's got a Komodo dragon ass.
no, he's got a Komodo dragon face. Okay. Um, whatever. Leave me alone.
Komodo dragon ass.
Leave it in. Leave it in.
So one thing that James, I know is a big thing for you.
It's less and less of one, but I want to hear what you're about
So-
to talk about.
When the trailer started, someone distinctly yelled, "Is he still gonna look ugly?"
Wow.
And they have redesigned him.
What?
Is
So
it?
he's the same dude, but he looks like 5 years older.
Get out.
And it's so funny.
No way.
So
Like,
this,
he looks
this
great,
Spider-Man
yeah.
has looked like 3 different dudes at this point.
I'm okay with that. He's like the Doctor in Doctor Who. He's like regenerating at this
Yeah.
point.
It turns out you've been playing as the chameleon this whole time.
That would be so. Oh my gosh, if they had Chameleon, no, they couldn't.
And
do that.
then they talk. Mary Jane also got redesigned to look more like Laura Bailey,
Really,
which she looks great. I mean,
really,
like,
okay.
it's a good redesign. But I don't know why they're doing this because they also did it for Harry.
I heard about that one. I knew that one was
Yeah,
coming.
like when the trailer started, it started with footage of Harry.
Is he Venom in
and I thought
this?
it was a new design for Peter.
That's so funny.
And like, I was not the only one that thought that.
So what's the deal with that? Is there any context? Because last week, see Harry, he's like comatose.
I think-
Yeah.
You think he's gonna be out?
It,
the whole
is
next
is
game?
he? Do you think Harry is going to be Venom in this?
That's what I think.
I think
personally.
Harry's gonna be Venom personally,
But what?
but they didn't confirm that.
Now is this trailer out and about on the internet? Or-
I don't think so.
So
I've
what-
seen like a screen still image of Venom, but I haven't seen the
Yeah,
trailer.
you should put it up on the screen. It's pretty cool.
So what's the deal with Harry? You know, what can
They
you tell
don't
us
really
about
allude to
Harry?
him much, but there's definitely like a bit of falling out between him and Peter. Peter is like, from the trailer, is like they were not holding back with the symbiote at all. The way they described it is like it's definitely like a metaphor for addiction. I was even thinking about it, like when we were watching Oppenheimer, like the tagline they're using for the symbiote. It's like, you know, what happens to the people around you when like the people that you love when like you have something in your life that you put like over them that shouldn't be there. So it kind of takes the place of like an obsessive fixation more than like an addiction. They have a very interesting perspective on it.
It's interesting because I mean, there's always been qualities of addiction to how the symbiote is used, but I don't think that there's been something that has come out and just said we're going to really like have this be about addiction.
Yeah.
And especially because I feel like now there's so much detail that you can apply to that with Peter that you don't always get to in like the cartoons and stuff where it's like, what if he actually, you know, I don't know if it's going to be like withdrawal symptoms,
Mhm.
but you know, if he's like aching and he really like, he feels
Well, I
like
think-
he's like twitching to get the suit back on. And it's like,
More the effect of it that they're looking to is like how it affects the people around them. Because like one thing they hammered home, and I never even like thought about, is like, I know that the Mary Jane missions were very controversial in the first game,
yeah,
but the main characters in this iteration, they feel like more of a team than usual.
they
Mhm.
do. They got the Team Spidey thing.
Yeah, they
going
kind of got
here.
like I was thinking the same thing. They kind of got like a CW team vibe going.
Yeah.
So they kind of talked about how like because these characters are so interconnected, the ramifications of Peter adopting the symbiote will be more dramatic.
It's so interesting, which is how this timeline is set up to get Miles in a story about Peter getting the symbiote for the first time, because those are such distinct
So
eras.
Miles,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They're doing something awesome with Miles that I did not expect, which is that Mr. Negative is going to be back. And like Miles, remember Mr. Negative killed Miles' dad.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like his canon event, I guess, basically, is confronting the Mr. Negative about killing his dad.
So he's gonna have almost like a bit of a side story to
And like the
himself.
actor opened up about
That's cool.
his like absentee father and how like it was like one of the hardest things he's like ever like done as an actor because he was like able to pull from that.
Coming back to Martin Lee, man, that was something big. I didn't think that we would revisit that because we had a lot of emotions on set. Yeah, man, I was raised by a single mom, so you know I don't have my dad in my life, so that was a kind of a boom right there. So we kept it right there, but we delivered some great things for y'all.
Wow.
So
That's really, really cool. So
That
it's
is,
not-
yeah.
So they're not gonna just have Miles and like you're just kind of switching within one narrative. There's
no, there's gonna be like plot. It's gonna be like a TV show.
So it's gonna be like a instant comparison to what they did with GTA 5, where when you drop in on one of the characters,
Yeah.
they have the storylines intersect, which of course they will, but you know they have their own things. That's actually really cool.
Well, there's
that has me more excited. I gotta see this Peter redesign. That's
so there's
so
a
funny.
There's Peter exclusive missions, both main and side. Miles exclusive missions, both main and side. And then of course there's missions where you play as both. Like we saw that at the Sony State of Play, which was disappointing. This was way better. They should have just
Really?
done, oh my god, this was so much better.
And I really enjoyed that.
Did
too.
this show Lizard though?
Yeah, it did show a little bit of Lizard.
Oh, you know what? Yeah.
It
it's
showed
fine.
like it showed Peter like strangling Lizard with like a symbiote, like
Tendril.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I
it's-
maintain that I want him to chase down Shocker in this.
I was
game.
about to ask, is Shocker in
They,
the
they have
game?
the opportunity to do the funniest thing anyone's ever done in any video game.
Are we going to get the
I-
greatest remake of all
The
time?
only villains that we know about so far.
Shocker!
I'll chase you to the ends of the earth.
The only villains that we know about so far is Venom, obviously, Kraven, Lizard, and Mr. Negative is coming back.
And
That's
they're
it.
probably gonna foreshadow Green Goblin, baby.
Dude, their version of Green Goblin is going to be
They,
insane.
I
it's gonna
stand
be
by
so
that they should
peak.
do
Be so peak.
they should do Carnage and Green Goblin for the last game or the third game, and it should be Red Goblin as the final boss.
Red Goblin is such a modern comics design that was kind of goofier than it should have come across.
But it's so cool, though.
But it's so cool, and they absolutely could do that. That'd be terrifying.
I trust Insomniac to do that.
I want.
yeah.
I don't
Um,
care.
that's
if we
like-
get. I just want Green Goblin.
Dude, that's like the Batman Who Laughs, where it's such a cool concept that's kind of got squandered
Yeah.
by the writing of
I
it.
am not a big Batman Who Laughs fan.
It'll,
Batman Who Laughs was cool at his introduction, but he got milked just like every other
It'll be-
modern comic thing.
It'll be cool
Yeah.
one day when probably like animation writers get a handle on the
Yeah.
character. Brief aside on that. But is there anything else, whether it be like a character or some kind of feature to the game that they
Yeah,
showed
so
off?
I was getting on. So both Spider-Man have their own quests, and they also have their own skill trees, and then they also have a joint skill tree. So they're really taking this like two playable characters thing to heart.
They're really expanding the game.
Yeah, so like Miles will have like his Venom, like electric Venom, and then obviously Pete will have the symbiote,
Yeah.
and he'll have like the Iron Spider arms, which I guess are gonna kind of like supplement the symbiote at times, which makes sense.
Late game, I'm sure.
What?
Like in late game, I'm sure that'll be like to fill the void when
Yeah.
Peter gets rid of the symbiote.
And then they talked about the map is expanding. They have Queens now. I think they have Brooklyn. Yeah, they have Brooklyn and Queens.
Yeah.
And like the areas are not just like more. They're like they have a different, they kind of feel like biomes. They're not just like more New York. They have specific like threads that go through them and ways to traverse them that are unique. I'm assuming like Miles would have more missions in Brooklyn, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They touched on, because I know a big criticism of the first game is that the web singing is kind of slow.
It's a bit monotonous after a while. It's fun when you're playing the game, but
Yeah, but it's really slow in the first game. And they said that the reason for that was just simply the hardware limitations.
so I was about to ask, but I kind of thought it'd be Pipe Dream. Have they actually updated some stuff?
So, I mean, they have like the glider system now.
I saw that from the last trailer. That's
So
cool.
you can like pull yourself on buildings. Like, it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be like kind of like Batman Arkham, not like a fake cheap imitation.
No, but this game does remind me of the elevation from Asylum to City. Even
Yeah.
though I would say, like, actually, when you look back on it, Asylum's probably the better game.
It is definitely a better game.
But man, like
It's my
when
favorite in
City,
the series.
when City was coming out, that was an event, and it was just fun to see them just blow the roof off of what the first game was in size. And so this reminds me of that in a fun way.
Yeah, and like they maintain that like web slinging is the main force of traversal in the game, but that they have definitely improved it. It just seems like as far as like gameplay goes, because we haven't even gotten to like the narrative stuff, is that it's just taking the first game, which everyone already loves, and just expanding it like at every level. Because I mean, I think the first game has some issues. So I'm glad to see that. And they really hammer home like how much they're taking advantage of the PS5 this time around. So this game is not on PS4, so
It's time.
it's time to upgrade, all of you brokies.
It's tough because there's still just
Literally
no
me.
consoles out there. It's ridiculous.
What?
It's also just tough because there's still just no PS5s out there.
Yeah, there are.
Is it getting better?
Yeah.
Finally?
I mean, you can go get an
Marginally.
Xbox.
Oh, you can. Oh, I know
Easily.
you. Oh, I know you can get an Xbox. I'll go into Costco and they got those things lined up in a little like sale pyramid
Mm-hmm.
because just nobody's buying them. So I mean, well, here we go now with the Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard empire.
Oh God.
So, but yeah, not even to get into that. But anything else for Spider-Man?
So the biggest thing and the best thing was definitely Tony Todd.
For me, Venom was fun to do, and I wanted to make sure that there was a joyous quality in his destruction. You know, he's only here on Earth for a little bit, and he's going to move on somewhere else. So I wanted to make sure that he left an impact of joy and tenacity and deliciousness.
Oh yeah.
So he's insane as Venom. Like they played some of his dialogue. He actually did the voice. He
Oh,
said
that's
it's
cool.
the best acting endeavor he's ever had in his career.
Dang,
What?
So,
And he directly
they're pushing the character like how they push
Bro,
Doc.
more than Candyman? Come on.
dude, he said that he finds it like the most rewarding acting experience he's had. And he directly said that like one thing led to another with Zoom on the Flash led to him playing Darkseid in animation, which I didn't even know he did.
I didn't know he did that.
And then Darkseid led to him playing Venom.
Well,
That's cool
shit.
that Zoom was the start of the journey.
Yeah.
See, that's the nostalgia that I enjoy. Not like
I mean, he
reviving
directly
things.
mentioned it.
I just enjoy seeing the progression and stuff like that.
Dude,
But-
he is just
Well, it dawned on
his
me.
Venom voice is just haunting. I mean, the cast was like talking about how like they didn't record in the same room,
Mm.
obviously. So like, and they did like motion capture, whereas like Tony Todd did not, because Venom is like 9 foot tall in this game. And like Tony Todd's voice lines would like come over the intercom, and like they just like all go into shock, and like couldn't record because it's just like so.
Terrifying.
It's legitimately scary. Like he's doing a fantastic
Well, it makes
job.
so much sense for Venom.
It's
like-
perfect casting.
Like that hit me. Now, like, technically this is not a live action Venom, but then again, what Sony can do now with their exclusives, you can just about talk about it in tandem with live action. Like when I think about Doc Ock adaptations, I think about Alfred Molina and I think about the PlayStation one.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about it,
Rigby.
like, huh? Yeah, Rigby. I know. I didn't want to say Rigby, but Rigby. When you look at Venom, this is like our third adaptation, like not including animation, and he really hasn't been done right. He really hasn't been done justice as a villain. You have the Topher Grace nonsense where he's basically Carnage, and then you have the Venom movies, which like
Goofy.
it's its own thing.
It's fun when it does,
like-
but it's not.
Venom.
Yeah, it's its own it's its goofy little thing.
Liam, you like the Venom movies?
I do like the Venom movies. It's,
Yeah, this is like
it's
Venom.
really funny to me, though. I laugh at Venom, not with it.
But this is like scary villain Venom with the white logo.
No, this is like the Venom that like everyone hypes him up to be.
Who like hates Spider-Man, and this is like the Venom where you'd be shocked to later see him be willing to help Peter. Which, now that you're mentioning that they're already setting up that Harry is beefing with Peter, he's totally Venom.
I think there's definitely going to be Miles has to fight Peter. Like that was heavily alluded to
I think that's totally happening.
in the trailer. It seems that way.
That's cool. I'm in, dude.
So the symbiote seems like more of a character than it's used to.
I will be playing it.
Let me see if I can.
Will you be playing it, Liam?
Eventually. I'm not sure if it'll be immediate.
Whatever.
but-
James and I got you covered.
Yeah. I would have to
So, I mean-
buy a PlayStation.
Oh yeah, I see. I think I found a picture of Insomniac Peter. You know what? It's better.
It's a lot better in my opinion.
Yeah, I also looked it up.
I can
While
take it
you were-
serious. I don't feel like it's, Miles is older than Peter.
Yeah,
which
he looks way older than him now, than
Yeah.
Miles. Because like he looked younger than Miles.
He looks like that one comic cover that came out for the second game where people
Mhm.
were like, please just have him look like that. That's a lot better. I can take that a lot more seriously. I kind of like the older MJ more though, but this one's totally fine.
One more thing I want to talk about is that Yuri Lowenthal had this amazing moment, and James, please edit this in, where he wanted to talk about the whole strike situation, because like the only reason this panel happened with the actors in the panels because they don't have the same contracts for gaming, which he said that he predicts it might change soon, which makes sense just with how innovative video games are getting.
I know you guys have been hearing about the strike. We are here this weekend, but we stand with in solidarity with our brothers and sisters and everybody. We are here because we are able to be here because we're under different contract for games, but that might not last forever. So. If you want to learn more about the strike and everything's going on, the fight's going on, this is not the place. We're here to talk about Spider-Man, but there's a great panel on Saturday morning at 10:30. All your questions will be answered, or you could go to navavoices.org.
And it was just like, it was such a good thing for him to say. And I think there's going to be like a panel on Saturday at Comic-Con about SAG from a variety of actors talking about the whole ordeal. So we will keep you updated on that.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely try to keep you posted on all of the SAG and WGA strike news as it develops.
Yeah, I mean
Just did the whole process.
Comic-Con this year today was fantastic. All three of the panels I really enjoyed. Of course, we don't have like an hour and a half to talk about because there's only three of them. Personally, I think Project K looked the best. It looks like it's gonna be one of those movies that everyone loves. And the other two were outstanding. It did get gutted. I mean, there were only three panels on the day, in like Comic-Con days last like 12 hours. So it is a little hard. I think that CDCC, I keep saying that, SDCC did the best they could with the situation. And all the people that ran the panels went into it with the best attitude possible. And so did like the people at the convention. No one was being like mopey or annoying. And I got really good seats because of it, so I'm not complaining.
Well, there you go.
So we will keep you updated on the rest of the convention. This will be a little bit of a shorter segment.
Follow us on Twitter.
Please follow us on Twitter because I am posting directly from the panel live.
Subscribe to YouTube.
Absolutely.
So anything else?
I don't think so for me. We'll be right back with more coverage for Hall H and anything that comes out of San Diego Comic-Con tomorrow.
Thank
Yep.
you very, very much for listening. We will, with any luck, be a bit more spunky in our next recording sessions. It's just we are burning the true midnight oil over here.
We're shells of men because we're dedicated to getting this news to you.
Unless my co-hosts have anything to add, I am going to bed.
I think that's it for me.
That is it for me.
Thanks for watching Holy Plot. Stay safe out there. Goodbye. Thank you, baby.